I've got to be the only guy making YouTube videos in my bed. But my bed is made, and it's nice and comfy on this cold Olympia day. Look, I have my sunflower up here. My son as a plant dad. Olympia is a pretty depressing place around this time of year. I wish I could switch the camera back and forth on here, but it's pretty out here. But for whatever reason, people feel so subdued this time of year in Olympia. And there's other things, there's other factors there for the causality behind that. One is it's very expensive and pretty much impossible to get your own room anywhere unless you're making like at least probably $40 an hour or something if you want to get your own apartment. And you know, that's just not very tenable for most of us, especially people with a minimum wage job. And no one wants to be always having roommates their whole life. And if you're like me and you haven't found like a lasting relationship where like the two of you equally want to get a place together, and you know what partners do, either kids or pets and your own place and make it nice. I'm 36 and I haven't attained a lasting, I guess I had a stint of that. I was married for 3 years, but 2 of those years, my brother-in-laws lived with me, which I love them. They're actually some of my best friends, but, you know, it makes it slightly less sexy with your, with your partner when your brother-in-laws also live there. It was a beautiful house, though, out in Boston Harbor. So I did have some very pleasant experiences so far in my 8.5 years living here in Olympia, but I'm not checking the boxes for what I want to do in life. And I'm a passionate person. I have goals. I want to be with a partner. I even want to be a dad. There's no shame in that. I think I'd be a really good one. I know a lot of things not to do, that's for sure. And, you know, anyone as parents wants to be able to provide their children with what they didn't have. And I've spent a lot of time working on stuff that is cool and fun, like music, the arts, going places. Like, I am all about fun. I am all about outings and the best things about enjoying life, the natural highs, as well as altered states. I have a pretty broad spectrum, even though I'm only a specialist in certain things, but I am a physicist as far as I have a natural sensibility with things and stuff and the movement and the spaces and how to work with all that, the little details of lots of jobs. And I'm someone that really likes a space. Like right now, this is messy for my room, and it's cleaner than a lot of my friends' rooms. Look at this. I have so many toys and fun, cool stuff. And this is my messy. But I only have one other friend who doesn't even live in Olympia anymore. That is actually above my standards of cleanliness. But when you have roommates, you just have to work with, there's always more work than it seems like. Like every roommate always, like in every place almost, if they're trying to keep the kitchen clean as we all want, everyone always feels like they do the most. But the truth is there's just a lot. Like, it seems like more than it is, and no one likes to wash the dishes and scrub the dishes. It's such a part of our life. If you hate doing the dishes, you probably are hating your life. That might be a far stretch. But, you know, I'm not ashamed to say, yeah, there are a lot of things that are very discouraging about this journey. It's like, I don't want to struggle so hard to get the things I want. It's not too big of an ask. It's not that entitled. Entitlement is when you think it's like your will and your values go over other people's. No, we all deserve more than this bullshit we're having to deal with. And I think more people need to realize that. All these emotions and stupid things and bridges we burn and all that stuff, that's all just mind manipulation of the aliens that have been here the whole time and are actually just feeding on our energies and incite us against each other, and all the heartbreak and stupid emotions and forgetfulness. We have to learn things over and over. It's like, look around. There's empirical evidence for this theory. It's like when you're playing hide and seek and your friend who's hiding isn't very good at playing along with the game, and it's hiding maybe hide and seek in the dark, as we played when we were kids, and you find your friend and they just pretend like you didn't find them, and it's like, bitch, you're right there. Like, what the fuck are you doing, you know? And so, you know, in a lot of ways in this life, I've had just about all I can take, and there's no shame in that. Yeah, I want to be here and do cool stuff, but it's like, there is hardly anyone that's like me, other than being a human and having basic human needs. And so, yeah, that's what makes it frustrating. I can't have either my own place or a partner that wants to, like, cultivate that kind of thing with me. It's bleak as fuck. And I'm moving out of Olympia probably around in a year. I need to get out of here. It's like, for this long, like, am I that unattractive and like repulsive of a person that I can't find someone in the millions of people out here? Is that too big an ask? You know? It's the reason I got a vasectomy. I'm like, I'm not gonna have kids when I'm old. And a lot of you are probably laughing at that, because, you know, that's a common early 30s thing to think. I mean, I did that when I was 33. I'm 36 now. Kind of regret that decision a little bit. Sometimes you just don't know how a thing feels until after you do it. And it's a potent thing to have the power to procreate. And once you take that away from yourself, it's not that I can't, you know, reverse that or whatever, but that's the expensive one. I got it for free. That's why I did it. It was paid for, which is nice. But I just figured, like, in this world and with my mental health, which has improved, I've learned to navigate and manage better without losing my shit. I keep it together a lot better than I did, and hopefully that continues. Especially now that I'm not getting loaded all the time. I'm like trying to maintain and up my game and change the game, because fuck this game. I love the players, I hate the fucking game, and that's how we all should be, and we should fucking change this game. But no one gives a fuck enough to do that. And that's what's such an anathema. Or people do, but they don't really recognize it. It's always the other people, the other sides. It's like, no, it's not the people. You're all, me included, we're all manipulated. We're all, and yeah, that might seem dystopic, but you should be acclimated to dystopia by now. Like, that's, you know, that's kind of the zeitgeist or whatever, you know? Dystopic shit not working out. Everything expires and runs out and is temporal. It's fine. I don't want anything to last forever anyways. It's just like everyone says, oh man, that would just be so boring. It's like, you know what's boring? Your imagination. Because utopias can be way the fuck better than dystopias. And way more interesting. There's always more to discover. There's an infinitude of things to create and discover. Imagination is the final frontier. I truly believe that. Anyway, here in this limited plane of existence, I feel like I've kind of been failing my life's purpose. Not to say it couldn't come about, but I guess not entirely. It's a little over negative of me. You don't want to be toxically negative or positive, but it's important to be authentic and say the shit that's like eating you alive. And that's what I'm doing. I am being an example of what I would love to like see more people do and be. I used to be overly humble and abase myself and always assume other people have it, like are more with it and together. And I just realized I was violently wrong. I'm actually doing a lot better than most people in here, in, well, my body, my abilities, my functionality, my, the order, the pristine aesthetic and things that I have an eye for, that I practice. That's the only reason I'm really good at anything, is I practice. I practice the things, like ritualistically, like regularly. Like, I'm the cleanest stoner I know. You have to maintain a certain amount of neuroticism just to, you gotta be a little manic about stuff. Like, not completely neuroticism, but, you know, a little too much, just a little bit of angst and everything, because everything that feels more difficult than it has to be. You just do little things and stuff breaks, and it's just like, oh God, this was gonna be a quick task, and now it's a whole ordeal. You know, it's a lot of things. And so it's okay to be frustrated your whole go through life. Like, I have grace. Like, my friends can be frustrated at me. I'm probably annoying and dumb sometimes and say stupid stuff all the time. That's part of the authenticity thing. That's part of the not being ashamed. That's part of your life being transparent. Who cares? Who cares what other people think? People are stupid. You know that. This is pretty negative, but it's true. And it's no biggie either. People are allowed to be stupid. It's fine. I'm kind of stupid in some ways that I wish I was smarter, and then I'm super smart in ways that it's just like painful because fucking you're on an island. Like, intelligent, like really intelligent people that must be fucking depressing, unless they're somehow also intelligent enough to like find that scintilla, that spark of like joy that supersedes everything and all the bullshit. I see that exists too. But then there's really smart people that are just like fucking so like, what the fuck am I doing here? You can just see it on their face, you know? Yeah, my life's purpose, getting back to that, is like, well, you know, community, creativity, and to put it a little reductionist, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And people are so prude, like more prude in the secular world. Like, oh, I want to like, or at least the people I'm attracted to, I guess. Maybe that's from my very conservative upbringing and a conservatism that comes out of like religiousness, faith-based ideologies with their dogmas and their, you know, presuppositions about things and their exclusiveness to only Jesus is the way. Yikes. I don't even think Jesus thinks that. Could you imagine, like, someone who's just overly worshipped? Like, yikes. God, if some fluke of whatever, like, I could only imagine myself in Jesus' shoes to be, like, worshipped like that. Oh, it's like, no. You guys, that is the epitome of cringe to worship people. No, I mean, you can appreciate people. You can have undying gratitude for people. You can, yeah. You can be humbled in someone's presence by just how inspiring and awesome they are. That is true. I felt that. And maybe you could call that worship, but it's not the obsequious, you know, sycophantic, just pandering or whatever. Maybe that's not the right word. I love a good word. If you haven't, like, the right word for something you're trying to describe is such a great practice. This is another practice I do. It's like the perfect piece of the puzzle that says, like, that is exactly, specifically what I was trying to say. And that's very satisfying. It's like when you convey something crystal clear and someone's like, oh, I know exactly what you mean. And that's a good way to say that. And like it catches on. It's like a meme that is self-replicating. And people are like, oh, that was a yummy way to say that. A yummy way to say that. It's funny. But it might inspire other people to slow down a little bit enough to describe something with less words but more precision of speech and elegant eloquence. There we go. There's an example. But back to sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, I feel like I'm not really achieving my life's purpose. And, I mean, I don't take myself too seriously, so this is like kind of a comedy bit and kind of true. The duality there, but yeah, I'm like, why can't a guy have what he wants, especially, or just change his wants to want different things? Like, there's the choice thing I'm talking about. Like, I'm like, I don't have a choice. I'm a victim to my own desires and passions. And I don't identify as a victim. It's just a fucking reality. You know? Yeah, people that have to change their gender, they don't have a choice about wanting that or not wanting that. They just want that. And so they actually literally don't have a choice because it's this desire within them, the identity. Like, you can change your identity. You can be anything. Like, why do you want to be something that's gonna harm your body? And anyways, I wasn't intending to go off on the deep end of my frustration with not understanding why people like are masochistic and mutilate themselves. Like, just work with what you got. That's what I do. I could be a boy or a girl. I'm just gonna work with the perks of being either one. There's no set in stone roles. You can choose any roles, just like people do in movies. They're paid to do a role. They do a role and then they do another role. Like, they're not like, well, maybe some are, but it's like, I don't do role playing, or like, no, everyone does role playing, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's when like, there's a societal expectation that this gender takes that role and this gender takes that role, and now that's the bullshit you got to get rid of. So you got to hear me out before you get too triggered on my existential angsts. This is triggering. I mean, I'm triggered about all this stuff, so join me in my intriggerment. But I can also laugh at it. I can laugh at it and not take it too seriously. And that's the duality there. I like that word. I came up with that one. Why not make up your own word? New words create more consciousness. Is the profundancy there. Is it time for me to go? Almost. I lost my train of thought on the word thing because I had something to say. Damn. Well, we're almost at 20 minutes. I'm meeting with friends who I kind of sort of burn bridges with. It's kind of tough. Kind of working through emotions. Being the person I want to be, to present the way I want to present, and treat them with respect, even though after you have the feeling of kind of losing respect for someone. God, I'm kind of all over the place today. I'm not even stoned or anything. I just woke up, had my coffee, going out to breakfast soon. Might go to an open mic after that. I want to do a whole bit on this dude. This whole bit was actually is kind of a semi-comedy bit. And it's about how I feel like I'm not achieving my life's purpose, and that's the reason for my existential angst and depression. Because I'm not a depressed person. So when I'm depressed, it's double trouble because I'm pissed. Because I'm like, fuck this. This is not my vibe. This is not what I want to be, what I choose. And that's where I rage against the literal forces of nature, that the like physics, that things, but that's valid. It's insane, but if I am eternal, I will get to a reality, or will make a reality, or be in a reality that is I can be of a disposition of it that I'm like, this is acceptable. I want to accept my reality. I don't even want to accept this one. But my bit on the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll, yeah, I'm not achieving my purpose there. I've done some drugs, but I want, more specifically, relationship and the community to be more cohesive, smaller community, and not just like raving conformists that all encourage each other's angsts to raise hell, which I'm a rebel, so I get it. Fuck the system. We actually don't need the economy. Yeah, everything would fall apart. This is another video too. I gotta shut the hell up, and I could literally just talk and talk. I have so many thoughts and opinions on so many things, and I don't know, it doesn't get out there very much, but maybe one day it will. I just need to get out of Olympia, I'm gonna go to an open mic, and I want to do another video on this, but open mic, one thing that's really cool about it, and there's people that attend just to watch, and it is like church, but without the religion. It's like you got the community, you got different people stepping up to the microphone to express something they deem as worth sharing, and by their own volition have curated it and want to express it before an audience of peers, non-peers, just people in the community. Anyway, deuces. See you on the next one.